One test, 4 modules, and your entire future ahead of you. Today, we're mastering the IELTS pattern. Let's break it down. Prepping for the IELTS, it can seriously feel like you're trying to solve this massive, complicated puzzle, right? Well, what if I told you we have the picture on the box lid? That's exactly what we're going to do. In just the next few minutes, we're going to tear down the entire exam structure so you know exactly what's coming. Sound good? Let's dive in. And hey, if you're feeling a little overwhelmed, trust me, that is totally normal. But the absolute best way to crush that anxiety is having a clear plan. So that's what we're going to do. We are going to map out every single piece of this test right here, right now. I promise, by the end of this, the IELTS won't seem like some scary obstacle. It'll just be a challenge you know exactly how to handle. Alright, let's kick things off with the big picture view. Before we get into all the nitty-gritty details, there are a few key numbers you just got to know. These really define the whole IELTS experience. So first up, 4. What does that mean? Well, the IELTS is really just 4 tests all bundled into one. They call them modules, and they are listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Pretty straightforward, right? Each one tests a different core language skill. That's it. Okay. Now, 3 of those 4 modules, that's listening, reading, and writing, they're all done together, back to back, in one single session. And the total time you're going to be sitting in that exam room for this whole written part, 2.5 hours. Yep, 2 hours and 30 minutes straight. But wait, what about that 4th module, the speaking test? Well, that one's the odd one out. It's totally different. It's super short, just a one-on-one interview with an examiner that's over in about 15 minutes. And here's the best part. It's almost always on a completely different day, which is great because you can focus on it all by itself. So, let's break down that 2.5-hour written test. How does that time get sliced up? Well, it's pretty simple. You get a full hour for reading, another full hour for writing, and then 30 minutes for listening. So as you can see, reading and writing are the heavy hitters. They take up the bulk of your time. Okay, so we've got the 30,000-foot view. Now, let's zoom right in and tackle that written test. We're going to go deep on listening, reading, and writing one by one, so you know exactly what each one is all about. First up, the listening module. You've got 30 minutes on the clock, and in that time you have to answer 40 questions. It's a race against time for sure. And don't expect just simple multiple choice questions. Oh no, they throw a whole bunch of different question types at you. Things like matching, labeling diagrams, filling in gaps, you name it. Okay. Listen up, because this is probably the single most important thing you need to know about the listening test is the golden rule. You only hear the recording once, that's it, one shot, they play it and it's done. No rewinding, no second chances. So what does that mean for you? It means your focus has to be razor sharp from the very first second. Alright, next up we have the reading module. For this one, you get a solid hour. In that hour, you've got 40 questions to answer, and they're based on 3 pretty long texts. Now, there are a couple of big challenges here you need to know about. First, the texts get harder as you go. The last one is always the toughest. And second, and this one is super important, you do not get extra time at the end to transfer your answers. You have to write them on your answer sheet as you find them. Seriously, in this section, time management is the name of the game. And yeah, just like with listening, they love to mix things up in the reading section. You're going to see a whole bunch of different question types. We're talking about the classic true, false, not given, matching headings to paragraphs, finishing sentences, all sorts of stuff. That variety is exactly why you can't just have one strategy. You've got to be nimble and ready for anything. And that brings us to the final piece of the written test, writing. Now, this section is split into 2 totally different tasks. First, you've got task 1. You get about 20 minutes to write a report, at least 115 words, describing some kind of visual, like a chart, a graph, or a map. Then you've got task 2, and this is the big one. You have 40 minutes for this, and you need to write a full-blown essay of at least 250 words where you discuss a topic and give your opinion. And because you have more time for it, task 2 is worth more of your mark, so plan your time wisely. Okay, phew, we've made it through the entire written test. So now, let's talk about that last piece of the puzzle, the speaking test. I know, for a lot of people, this is the part that causes the most stress. But can I let you in on a little secret? It's not as scary as it sounds. It's actually a super predictable, structured conversation. So here's how it works. The whole thing is broken down into 3 super clear parts. Part 1 is just a warm-up, really. The examiner asks you some simple questions about you, your home, your work, your hobbies, easy stuff. Then comes part 2. they'll hand you a cue card with a topic on it. You get 1 minute to think, and then you have to talk about that topic for about 2 minutes. Finally, there's part 3. This is where you have a deeper chat with the examiner about themes related to your topic from part 2. See? It's a nice logical flow from personal to general, and it's the same structure every single time. Wow, okay, we have covered a ton of information, so to help make sure it all really sinks in, let's pull everything together into one simple, at-a-glance cheat sheet. This is your final summary of everything you need to know, and there you have it, the entire IELTS exam on one handy slide. So let's just recap the absolute must-knows. For listening, 30 minutes and you only hear it once. For reading, 60 minutes and absolutely no extra time to transfer your answers. For writing, 60 minutes split between that report and the big essay. And finally, speaking, about 15 minutes in a 3-part face-to-face chat. Think of this as your roadmap, your blueprint for crushing this test. So that's the whole shebang. Seriously, just understanding this structure is the first and I'd say most critical step to really conquering the IELTS. When you know the format, the timing, and the rules of the game, that's when you can start building a smart, effective study plan. So the only question left for you is, which part are you going to tackle first?